Storm Thorgeson. What is there to say about Storm Thorgeson?
The legend.
The legend that is Storm. He's made just some of the most iconic artwork, not just album art, because I think it's more than that. It really is art in its own right. Since the 60s, and the legendary pieces of popular culture he's created are things like the cover for Dark Side of the Moon, Led Zeppelin, Houses of the Holy,
all the Pink Floyd stuff.
All the Pink Floyd stuff.
Covers.
Great ones for Peter Gabriel, Mars Volta, Muse. There's this
and
massive, Younger Brother, and Spangle. And we actually first got in touch with Storm when we were doing Last Days of Gravity, and we thought we'd never be able to get Storm to work with us. And
we always used this guy Mark Neal, who was great, but every time we worked with him, we'd tell him, make it look more like Storm Thorgeson. And then one day we just said, why don't we just try and contact Storm Thorgeson instead of asking all these people to make it look like Storm Thorgeson? Go direct to the source. So we looked him up on the internet, called him up, and he answered, and agreed to try an album cover for us.
He's great. He is a master at what he does, and he's got such a singular vision. You can see immediately it's a Storm Thorgeson piece when he comes to you. He comes to you with all these crazy ideas, drawings he makes, which are all these strange sort of diverse, I don't know what's the word, tangents from what your album title is, but it's always fascinating.
He's a very lateral thinker, and so if you give him the name of a song or the name of an album, he will immediately find a very lateral tangent that somehow seems appropriate to the concept. We went to Storm for the first Younger Brother album, and we told him the title of the record, and he sketches out these drawings. These are the original drawings that he sketched out the first time for Last Days of Gravity. One with a sort of obelisk and figures in, very classic Storm Thorgeson with a nice horizon line and scale. And I like that sort of 2001 idea. That's another variation on that. We have the sort of the upside down teardrop effect, and all these he has, you know, he just sketches out ideas for you to look at, and then you choose one, and then he tries not to use computer. He then, like for the teardrop for example, he would get a teardrop made, not build it in the computer, and using a film props company or something, and then go and shoot it and take the photograph. The one which is sort of like William Morris wallpaper or something, called Japanese Feet, shot from below. And it was very hard to choose between these. They're all sort of great images. That one, the antique books in the forest, I like as well, but it just seemed a bit similar to a few adverts and stuff that I've seen that he may well have done. The Underwater Ninja, another idea that we liked and may well yet use for something else. And there was the strange drawing of these giant scissors and a guy coming around the corner not knowing what awaits him, and the scissors clearly has shredded everything in its path, and it sort of has a kind of dark overtone of unexpectedness and surprise. And Storm was sort of very much into the idea of cutting. He said the music sounds very cut up, and actually at one point he called up and said, why don't you change the name of the album to something to do with cutting? Something like The Final Cut, maybe, I don't know what he meant, but we kept the Last Days of Gravity and kept the cover, and he then got the pair of scissors made by a props company. Unfortunately our budget isn't that of Pink Floyd, so if it was Pink Floyd it wouldn't. It was like Stonehenge in Spinal Tap. The scissors arrived finally, all wrapped up in this giant box, and we climbed up the box, opened it up, and there's another box within the box and more packing material. Eventually we got down to a little box, and there was a little wee pair of scissors about that big, and that's what we used. And we lay in the street, and he photographed us and then printed it out full size and chopped it up, and had to use Photoshop, much to his displeasure, to make the scissors actually look a lot bigger.
And so Vaccine, we got him on again because we just sent him the title, sent him a few tunes, and he came up with a great idea. Or we really like it.